So,
Okay.
today, me and Emily want to talk to you guys about coloring because Emily's got big things she's doing and that we're promoting. And we think it's really important. Me graduating with my psych degree, I took a class in expressive therapy, and creative modalities have kind of been lost and sort of overlooked, and they're extremely vital to our psyche and to feeling calm and tranquility and lots of things. We've got a lot of information that we're going to give you guys.
So much information.
And hopefully it's all beneficial so that you guys can understand where we're coming from and help improve your lives. Like we're improving our lives.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, there's a lot of benefits that go into coloring. So I was telling you earlier, like the things that I learned, that it really, and this we kind of both knew anyway since we're both artists, but it really helps get into a meditative state. Kind of helps you think about nothing, which is really nice. Sort of just puts you in a different mindset.
Headspace.
Yeah, absolutely. It also, so it helps cope with, like, I think I said this in the last video. Not everybody wants to talk to somebody, and that's okay because we're all in different places in our lives, and not everybody has to talk to somebody. That's not how it has to be. So coloring is kind of a way to outlet your feelings without feeling like you have to share certain things. You know, you can kind of outlet and be to yourself if you'd like.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do that.
I like my solitude. I used to, as a kid, you know, my teenage years or whatever, I would always have to have somebody around me, somebody doing distraction stuff. And now, like, now that I'm in my 30s, I'm just like, oh, I need time to unwind. I need time to myself, especially in this field like bartending or serving or restaurants or anything where you're in front of people all the time.
Yeah.
You need to.
I feel like we sometimes lose ourselves in that too.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we think that we don't need time alone. We just keep running, but it's like you get addicted to it.
Yeah.
As soon as you realize that you can actually like wind down and be calm, you're like, whoa, I like being by myself for a little bit.
I'm like, get out of my space, everyone. I need to have my time.
My bubble.
Bye. Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, thanks, bye. So, basically there's been, you know, studies done. In 2006, there was a study that was done with women who have cancer, and they did different creative modalities to help figure out what was helpful and what was not helpful or whatever. And they found that these women that had cancer were actually able to relieve physical and emotional stress while they were doing therapy, like chemo and things like that. So it really helped them feel in a calm place with themselves. They also did an overall study, so males, females, children, everybody, to show that coloring actually brings feelings of comfort and calmness, which is really nice and beneficial. Everybody wants to be comforted and calm.
Well, and also the color schemes too. There's a lot of colors that give you calm.
Yes, they do certain things for your brain
Blues and
waves.
purples and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We learned that in art and doing the color wheel and stuff like that. So basically it also helps other things too. It's not just for people that have cancer. I mean, it helps with depression, anxiety, it helps with post-traumatic stress disorder, dementia.
Bipolar disorder.
There's so many different things that it can help aid in, because basically it's working. Actually, I have the researcher that said this. So there's Dr. Joel Pearson. He's a brain scientist. And the way that he goes about saying how coloring is therapeutic is because the parts of your brain that it takes to occupy finding different colors to use, schemes, doing edges, sizing, and like taking up all that thought space is actually occupying the space in your brain where you stress, where you have anxiety, where you have negative thoughts. So basically, when you're doing this, you're adjusting your focus to be able to not focus on those things. Yeah. It definitely like pulls you in. It's a tension thing.
That's amazing.
Right? I really like that.
It's amazing.
I mean, the fact too that because everyone always says like, well, actually not in the past 20 years. Psychology has become very, very popular, but when I first started taking it, it was interesting, which wasn't 20 years ago, but it was still an upcoming thing that people were kind of like still figuring out. But now there's neuroscience and all these things that joins with science to where it's actually like they can do brain scans with fMRIs and see like how it's affecting each parts of our brain, which is very, very, very cool. So this guy, Dr. Joel Pearson, he's not even a psychologist, he's a brain scientist, which is awesome. There's another guy, though, who's a neuropsychologist, so brain psychology, Dr. Stan Rodsky. And he actually has his own line of coloring books.
I have to check them out.
Right,
Yeah.
like that's amazing. He's like, all right, cool, this is beneficial. He figured it out. He decided that, you know, he was going to help people by putting out his own line and doing that. So I think that that's really inspirational. But he says he comes at it actually like from a different angle because he works with the brain. He works with a lot of fMRIs and brain scans. And he says that it's actually able to change our heart rate and our brain waves. So you are physically changing yourself when you sit down and take time to focus on these things.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Wait, would that make it be okay for maybe help people with blood pressure, high blood pressure?
Absolutely. If it's changing your heart rate and things like that, it can definitely help with blood pressure and things like that. Yeah, that would be a great benefit.
That's awesome.
That's really awesome.
Yeah. It's so weird how like one simple like task that you're doing that could help
so many different things.
On so many levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Emily also wanted to talk about finding motivation to do these things. Mm-hmm. Talk about a couple ways that you motivate yourself.
Seriously, if we're gonna be real, my main motivation for me to do artwork is I just don't want to be crazy.
True.
I literally will just be more emotional, just have a higher anxiety level if I'm not creating something. And it doesn't matter what I create. I could write a little like couple of lines of a poem and it'll help me focus. And yeah, so my main motivation, don't be crazy.
Right, that's a good motivation for sure.
But there's a lot of stuff that I do to like get into that mode, and which I guess we can talk about.
Getting in the zone, finding motivation for creativity.
But not the auto zone.
Not auto zone, no. The other type of zone.
Let me put my bunny slippers back on.
Oh, I love your bunny slippers. So basically, like in this book that I read, Subliminal, How Our Unconscious Mind Rules Our Behavior, by Leonard Mlodinow, in case anybody was wondering, and my friend Afka lent me the book. She was awesome.
Hi,
Afka! Let me use that. She knew that it was going to be geared towards what I was interested in reading about at the time. But they talk about athletes and how athletes have to get in this special headspace to be able to do, like to perform, to be able to do what they need to do. If they were caught up with all types of other emotions and thoughts and what am I going to do tomorrow, and oh my gosh, I was fighting with my girlfriend or my wife and or significant other, whatever, and what am I going to make for dinner tonight, they would not be performing at optimum. No, at optimum performance. So basically, you know, it takes some like mental preparation to get in this spot. Meditation is really, really good for that. That can definitely get you into a zone. Music is a very, very good way to help you get into a zone. I also find too that adjusting smells around you, smelling certain things, it's proven that citrus smells give you like an energizing focus feel. Clary sage, like we both use a lot of essential oils.
Peppermint.
Peppermint. Those are a lot of good ways to ignite like inspiration and feelings of creativity. Absolutely. So that's a good way to like kind of get there. And I was doing some research on basically like what motivates us as people, because like there's the obvious things that we get to motivate us, but then there's like this subconscious level of motivation that we don't really ever consider that's there. Just like the book says, this part that I'm going to read isn't in the book, but it definitely goes along with what that was talking about with our subconscious minds. Okay, so Stephen Rees came up with 16 actual basic values that we hold as a core, as people, as human beings. These are in no particular order. I'm just going to read them off and just take a mental note of them.
This could be an exercise. Homework. Homework.
But the good kind. It helps you do better.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I said, no particular order. I'm just going to list off these 16 basic values.
But your homework is to
figure out which values, in order, prioritize them.
Order.
Yes, definitely. So curiosity is the first one. Acceptance, order, physical activity, honor, power, independence, social contact, family, status, idealism, vengeance, romance, eating, saving, and tranquility. So, like I said, the order that you prioritize this list in kind of shows the character of yourself, like what your values are. And then he made 4 bullet points about the list that basically people that act in ways shows what how they express their values, and values predict our behaviors. And people may not be aware of their values, therefore they're not aware of why they're behaving the way they are. And also, it's important to realize that we can always change and always reprioritize these values, that they don't have to be definitive. It does not have to be the fine line. So basically, it really should be part of our motivation for ourselves to understand that, like, taking care of ourselves and things that are benefits to our health should be important and should be on the top priorities of the list. Definitely.
Hashtag treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Yes. Yes, yes.